These no sabo kids are making the whole Mexicans look bad. That's what happens with racism. And I'm not being racist. I don't want to be like, I don't want to get in trouble or anything. I'm being respectful as fuck. I don't want to get banned YouTube. But that's what all racism is. It's just pattern.
Not what you're talking about, but I want to know what your point of view as a person that worked for, I think, Homeland Security, right? What is your point of view right now with going on with Trump, right now with immigration and ICE? What is your point of view?
I think it's good. I think we haven't enforced immigration like this in a very long time, and I think not only do we need to stop the border crossings, but then we also need to remove the people that are here illegally that have been here for a while from the Biden administration and other prior administrations.
What do you think about the racially profiling people that are brown, people that are getting stopped just because they're brown? Do you think that affects the amendments that we have, Fifth Amendment?
Well, here's the thing, right? And this is why I kid around and I say I'm a proud bigot or racist. The reality is everyone has some level of bias, racism, profiling, because human beings don't have the ability to get to know everybody that they talk to. So you have to have preconceived notions about how someone looks and what their behavior is going to be to predict, right? It's a safety mechanism, right? And then obviously if you meet them and they're not the stereotype, that's different, right? For example, the gentleman before, he confirmed all the stereotypes about black men and violent and all this other shit. So is every black guy like that? No. But a lot of the times when you assume what things are going to be, you'll be right a lot of the times. We'll be wrong sometimes, yes. But if you don't do that, then you might set yourself up to be assaulted. Now, to come back to the immigration thing, I don't think it's necessarily profiling as much as a lot of these people were ordered removed by an immigration judge. So it's not that they're being profiled, it's that they've been ordered removed by a judge. They're not here legally.
But there's 4 raids going on and they're stopping people who are just brown.
I'm sorry?
There's raids going on and there's people that are getting stopped just for looking brown. So if you're a person about the Constitution and you're American, then how are you okay with that? How are you okay with any U.S. citizen being stopped for the purpose of them being a brown person?
Well,
how do you justify that as a brown person yourself?
I don't
if it happens to you, what?
No. Let's be real. They're gonna stop you, fam. If you look like you worked a 15-hour shift landscaping, fam, they're gonna get you. That's how it is. They don't give a fuck. They're gonna get you.
Handle that. You're gonna be okay with that? You're just gonna say it's part of the process?
Well, I'm not an illegal alien. And
so
then,
neither am I, but
The thing about Trump, he knows very well his people, right? He's an American. He knows how to speak to his people, right? Let's be honest, bro. Nobody really likes when other race goes to their country, right? And that's why, and from my experience, right? Because I'm Mexican, I understand maybe Canadians, and I know this for a fact, and even people that are not even Canadian, they don't like X race for different reasons, right? But the reason they don't like that race is maybe because they cause some type of problem. I don't know what kind of problem they're causing, but they're causing a problem. And people that are coming from other countries are causing a problem, and you see that race a lot, you're gonna make assumptions. That's not about being racist, it's just pattern recognition. You already know X person, this green person, let's say is green person does X thing. So when you see another green person, you're gonna assume they're gonna do the same shit. It's just pattern recognition. This is not about race. It's just pattern recognition.
People that look like me get stopped every day for bullshit like that, which is going against the Constitution. How are you as an American okay with that?
well, here's the thing. You got to remember that what you might define as profiling might not actually be profiling, right? So let's say immigration officers know that there's a lot of illegal aliens that hang out at a Home Depot. They go there and they see 20 individuals, right? They know that this is a place that a lot of people tend to be.
I mean, yeah, for sure, bro. Like these people are after or people. Like, do Mexicans go? Taco Bell. No, these guys were actually going to Taco Bell. That's crazy. That's crazy. I seen some videos. These guys were actually went to Taco Bell. Home Depot. I understand.
Legal looking for work. Well,
Right.
if they go ahead and do what's called an immigration inspection and ask them, hey, of what country are you a citizen? They can do that. They have to do that. Immigration officers.
Yeah.
I wouldn't consider that really profiling. And then in a lot of these cases where they're going out and people, they have an immigration warrant, which means they've been deported by an immigration judge. So
yeah, that's a very few. There's people who are just commuting, going on through their lives and being stopped, and they shouldn't have to. There should be no reason a brown person should have to stop and identify themselves when they haven't committed a crime. We have the freedom to travel, and we're being stopped.
That's where you're wrong. They did commit a crime by coming here illegally.
I can't argue with that. But fuck. But if this is all Matrix shit, at the end of the day, this is all Matrix shit. But if you wanna get into, if let's say you take off the Matrix out of the system, right? Bro, I'm from, I'm American. I'm American, bro. I'm a fucking Indio, you know? I'm a Indio. Am I? So, am I really the alien? I don't know, fam. You get like, yeah, I understand. This is your country, America. Woo, America. Yeah, I understand that. But we still Indios, you know? This once was our land, bro. And you can't say no. You can't say no. That's facts, bro. But like, it's their land now. We're legal now, right? That's why we are legal now.
Not everyone that's brown committed a crime, and not everyone that's Mexican or brown here that committed a crime, and not everyone here is illegally. So there's people that are getting stopped that are full U.S. citizens that are getting asked for identification when they shouldn't have to. They have the freedom to travel.
Well, immigration officers have the ability to do immigration inspections. They can absolutely stop you and ask your citizenship.
Yeah, but they're only stopping brown people. They're not stopping white people. Why?
Well, if they're close to the border, and that's what tends. What?
Okay, yeah, no, let's be real. They're gonna stop you. Yeah, if you look like me, if I'm pretty sure if I go close to the border or anywhere where ICE is, if they see me walking, they're gonna ask me for sure. Because why? Look at me, fam. For sure, these guys are after us. That's it. This is no. But what if because I look brown, they gonna take me? That's racism. No, that's just pattern recognition. Of course, they're gonna stop you. Like what? Like, they're after us.
That's what it tends to be. That's what it's going to be. Like it's
So
it's
you're
not-
just okay with that. So you're picking and choosing. So if you can't, how do you pick and choose what you want to follow from the Constitution?
It's not about picking and choosing. It's about they have a duty to remove illegal aliens. A lot of the illegal aliens tend to be from Mexico and South America. They have a certain type of look, so it makes sense that they would go ahead and ask them questions or conduct an immigration inspection.
Exactly. That's what I said, bro. They're gonna stop you for sure.
I don't think that's inherently biased or racist because a lot of these officers that are doing this are Mexican themselves or Hispanic. Most Border Patrol agents are actually Mexicans. People don't know this. They're not white people. They're not. They're literally Hispanics themselves.
But yeah, like let's be real here. Let's be real here. Yeah, I understand. You don't want us on. You don't want illegals in your country, right? And I respect that. Even though that this was our land one time, well, back in the day, let's speak facts, fam. Most of these people, most of immigrants just come to work. Like my parents, when they first came to Canada, they just came to work. Same as my family. They just came to work. That's all we do. I've seen so many influencers saying this, where they say like they're Mexican influencers, right? Chicanos. That's how you call them. They say, oh, like they misrepresenting Mexicans and because of you guys. They paint us this. They think we are this way because you're misrepresenting Mexicans. That's why they talk shit about Mexicans. And no, let's be honest. Let's get back. Let's go into the bone of everything. These people, and you can't say no. How do you know they are not government agents doing that shit? Say, and they telling them, oh, go get a flag. You know what I'm saying? How do you know that's not true? It could happen. But why my point here is that Mexicans are not gonna risk it. Like illegal Mexicans that are not gonna risk it like that. You know how hard it is for an immigrant to even get a job nowadays? It's not that easy, fam. They can barely speak Spanish. They just literally came for a better life. Facts. They just doing their job, fam. They're just doing the job nobody wants to do. And you can't say no. And we also do it properly. What happened is whether they're federal agents or somebody sent them to do this bullshit, because Mexicans are on the rise. Mexicans are on trend. They're on trend, and that's for a reason. Control. Yeah, we can talk about that. We can go deeper about that, but that's another topic. What I'm saying is that most of these Mexicans are no sabo kids, fam. Most of these Mexicans that are doing protests, that are protesting, are no sabo kids, fam. Generation. So what I'm talking about is that this generation, this first generation, they just came to work, bro. That's all they did, fam. They had their kids, bro. They were doing construction. They were busy as fuck, fam. They were busy as fuck, fam. And I know this from experience because I saw my parents doing this. They will always work. Every day. When they first came to Canada, they just were working every day, working day and night, bro. Imagine that shit. I'm pretty sure because I had to go back to Mexico, right? Me and my parents had to go back to Mexico when I was 3. I'm pretty sure if we never went back to Mexico, I'll be a no sabo kid. We have a different mentality. My mentality will be more like a Western society mentality. That's what my mentality would be, and that's why I'm thankful that I wasn't raised here, that I was raised there in Mexico, because the mentality is different. The parents that they had were able to stay in the States and had their kids, and their kids grow up there. Bro, you think me and a no sabo kid is gonna have the same mentality? No, bro, because these Mexicans, these people that had kids in Mexico back in the day, had these kids, fam, and I'm pretty sure they were so busy they didn't have the time to educate them. They didn't have the time, bro. So most of them, are no sabo kids, Western society mentality, doing dumb shit, doing stupid shit, and that's what happened. If you see people, Mexicans, Chicanos doing that shit, because they grew up in a Western society. That's what happened. And yeah, these no sabo kids are making the whole Mexicans look bad. That's what happens with racism. And I'm not being racist. I don't want to be like, I don't want to get in trouble or anything. I'm being respectful as fuck. I don't want to get banned YouTube. But that's what all racism is. It's just pattern recognition. Let's say they're green, right? And you see another, and you already saw what they did, right? And you see another green person, bro, automatically you're gonna think that. You're gonna assume that when you see another green person, you're gonna think the same thing.
So I think you saying, oh no, they're profiling against brown people. I mean,
They are. I mean, you can't deny it.
I mean,
It's happening.
see, my premise is that profiling isn't bad. See, you're framing it as a bad. I frame it as that's just natural police work, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I mean, that's your opinion. I'm here to see your opinion.
Yeah.
But
So I don't think that's wrong. I think, as a law enforcement officer, you have a duty and, an obligation to actively, try to detect and or stop crime. And a lot of times that might come off as profiling, but I think that's good.
you think profiling is good?
Yep.
So you think people getting harassed is good?
If you're not a criminal, you got nothing to worry about. If you're
But
not
people
a criminal,
get detained, and U.S. citizens get detained. People with residents get detained. People who are legally here are getting detained and put in detention centers and being held
you're
and
never
having to
gonna get
explain
put.
themselves.
See, that's materially false. You're never going to get put in a detention center if you're lawfully here. That's never going to happen.
No, it happens every day. It's happening right now. And, I mean, you just laughing
Bro,
at it. It's false.
You do realize I used to do this for work, right?
Yeah, I know. And
Yeah. So if someone
you're not doing it for now, though.
if
You did it before. Like, we're talking about present now. What you did before that has nothing to do with what's going on currently.
No, actually it does, because I worked under Trump as well. I worked under the Trump
We're not talking
administration
about
the
right
first time
now.
he was on.
Yeah, and that administration changed
you
from this.
cannot-
The laws have changed completely. What he's doing, what he did as the last administration, is completely different with the administration going on now.
It's very
His numbers,
similar.
his numbers are completely different. The policies that are in place are completely different. It's not the same policies.
It's very similar.
But it's
now,
not.
are they cracking down on immigration now more than before?
Yes, exactly.
But the
So it's
point
not
I'm
the
trying to
same.
make is that if you encounter somebody and they have documentation, whether it's an LPR card or they're a U.S. citizen, you're not going to take them back to an ERO facility. You're not going to do that.
They have to prove they get picked up. That they're even getting stopped at point. I don't
They
think
can
you're
literally
missing
run
point.
record
These
checks
people
right
are
there.
supposed to be just really traveling. Shouldn't have to prove anything just for the way they look. No.
No, they absolutely have to prove it. They
Just-
absolutely do.
So just
They absolutely do. And then
because
another
someone's
thing too is that they have a lot of them have fraudulent documents, whatever. So they have to confirm. They have to figure out if they're lawfully here or not. Like, bro, look, let me just be. And here's the problem, right? And this is exactly why we need to crack down on immigration. The fact that you're coming here and trying to make an argument about people breaking our laws and coming in and saying we need to.
You're completely ignoring what I'm saying. You're putting words in my
because you're-
mouth.
No, because you're saying
I'm saying about people getting
profiled.
stopped. Brown people. My argument here is
Look.
about brown people getting stopped.
Okay, this guy is just tweaking. I'm just getting clips from here.